This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, in the last session, we have discussed about enhancement framework. As part of that enhancement framework, we have seen the classification, we have source code enhancements, function group enhancements, class enhancements, and kernel badges. In the source code enhancements, we have seen one example. We understood that we have implicit enhancement points and explicit enhancement points. Implicit enhancement points, we have seen they are available at the end of report program, include programs, and at the beginning and end of what blocks, subroutines, methods, and what function models. Okay, so we have done the source code enhancement for the transaction code BD10. Okay, so now let us get into function group enhancements, and we have seen that enhancement point supports what multiple active implementation. We have one more thing, enhancement section. We'll see it by end of today's session. So we'll be completing this enhancements today. So we have what function group enhancements. Okay, so function group enhancements means it is a process of enhancing the standard function modules. Okay, function group enhancement allows us to enhance the standard function modules. So enhancing the standard function modules is nothing but we can add additional parameters. Okay, we can add additional parameters to the standard function model. What are the additional parameters that we are going to add? Those parameters are always added as what optional parameters. Okay, and apart from that, we can also enhance a source code in the function mode. Okay, so let's see that. Yeah, I'll take a function model. Right, so we know we have function builder tool SE37. So if you go to SE37, open any function model. Let me open a function model GUI underscore upload. Any function model which you know. So I need to enhance this particular function model. So what kind of enhancement we can do to the standard function models is we can add additional parameters to the signature of the function model. What are the additional parameters that we are going to add? It is always added as optional, because if it is mandatory, that function module might have already been called at many places in the SAP system. It might be called in 1,000 different places. So what are the additional parameter you have added? If it becomes mandatory, what is the problem? In all the 1,000 places wherever the function model is called, it leads to what? Runtime error, because we are not passing the value for the mandatory parameter. There is a reason. The additional parameter is always added as what? Optional. So let's see how to do this enhancement. Any function module you take, as usual, if you try to open it in change mode, it will ask you for what? Access key. Let me open that in display mode. Yeah. So this function module already has got some parameters. We have import parameters, export, changing tables. So in the import parameter, I want to add one additional parameter. Okay. So we cannot open this in what? Change mode. So what you have to do is, already in the last session, we have seen the implementation of what? Source code enhancements. Okay. So in order to enhance any standard program, I told that we have to open that object in enhanceable mode. Similarly, here also, this function model, if you want to enhance, we have to open this in what? Enhanceable mode. So on the application toolbar, we have the spiral icon here. Okay, enhance. If I click on this, yes, it is asking for what? Enhancement implementation. What we know about enhancement implementation so far, it is a container of what? Body implementation. And also in the last class, we have seen source code implementations also. They are stored inside what? Enhancement implementation. So far we know enhancement implementation is a container of body implementations and source code implementations. Now onwards, we can say enhancement implementation is a container of body implementations, source code implementations, and function group and implementations. Okay, so I'll provide the enhancement implementation name here. Let me give it as something ZGUI enhancement implementation. Provide some description. Done. Continue. Yeah, let us save this enhancement implementation in the local object. You can see now it has opened that particular signature in editable mode. So at the end, I can add what? Additional parameters, right? So depending on the requirement, we can add the additional parameters of any data type. So I'll add some parameter I underscore x something type I something. Okay, I underscore x type I, and you can see here this parameter is added by default as what? Optional parameter. The optional checkbox is automatically selected. It is automatically selected. Am I clear? And this additional parameter we have added through what enhancement implementation? ZGUI enhancement implementation. Understand? So like this, we can add any number of parameters. All these parameters will be added as optional only. Why optional means this function model might have been already called in the SAP system at many places. So if this is mandatory, what happens? The execution of those objects will lead to what? Runtime error. So in all those places, I must pass the value for this mandatory parameters. That's why SAP will not allow you to add it as a mandatory parameter. It is always added as what? Optional parameter, right? So based on the additional parameter we have passed, we can we can enhance the source code accordingly. So if I go to source code tab, already there is some what? Logic available here. Okay, so already in the last class we have seen in case of function models, methods, and subroutines, we can do the enhancements at the beginning and what? End. So for this, we need to identify the implicit enhancement option. So if you see this particular function model, I need to add the logic somewhere. Depending on our analysis, you have to add the logic at the appropriate place. So I need to identify the implicit enhancement options. No? How do we identify? We'll choose the menu edit enhancement operations, show implicit enhancement options. Last class you have seen same navigations. Edit menu, enhancement operations, show implicit enhancement options. So if I continue, yeah, you can see here, I got double quotes kind of thing here. Where I got it? I got it at the end of the function model as well as you can see at the beginning of the function model. Yeah, somewhere here you can see at the beginning this one. This is nothing but the implicit enhancement options. Or else meanwhile I've added what? One additional parameter. It is always added as what? What? It is always added as optional. So let me activate this first. I'm activating my enhancement implementation. It is activated. Right now, again, I want to enhance the source code of this. So I'll open it in display mode. I'll go to source code. Right. So what you have to do? We have to open this object in what? Enhanceable mode. It has opened in enhanceable mode. Choose the menu what? Edit enhancement operations show implicit enhancement options. If I choose this, yeah, you can see it. I got arrow pointer here at the beginning of the function module, right? As well as at the end of the function model. So wherever you want, you can add your additional source code. So already we are in enhanceable mode now. So I want to add the additional logic here. So I'll just right click on this implicit enhancement options, enhancement operations. What is this? Create implementation. I'll choose this. Choose the type of enhancement. You want to do any declarations or you want to write any code. I'll go for what? Some code. I'll give the enhancement implementation name as something ZGUI enhancement implementation 2. Provide some description. Let us save this enhancement implementation in the local object. Done. You can see at the end here, it has added what? Enhancement and what? End enhancement. So inside this, you write what are the logic you want to write. Okay, so I'll just write some message kind of thing here. I'll say additional source code type what? I, and here I'll give one more message. Additional parameter value is, what is the additional parameter value? I underscore X. Additional parameter value is, I think I have to give flower brackets. Additional parameter value is I underscore X. I will use the pipe symbol. Type what? I information message. That's all. I'm just providing some information message. Save it. Check for the syntax error. Activate this. So what I did in this function model, I've added what? Additional parameter, and at the end of the function model, I've enhanced the source code by printing the value of that particular additional what? Parameter. Let me activate, execute this. We have the provision to test your function models here only, na? So I'll execute this. Yeah, you can see what is the additional parameter I've added in the standard function model, I underscore X. I'll give the I underscore X value as something 14. Done. Understood? I'm passing the value as what? 14. It is new optional. If you want to pass, you can pass. Or this ignore, execute this. Yeah, it is asking, this is what? The file name it is asking. So I'll just save it. Yeah, it is not giving me message because if I scroll down, yeah, I need to, it is raising me some exception. What is this exception? File open error. Understood? You have to give the path of the file, then it will work. So here when I test it once again, when I execute, I'll give the value as something 66. File name also I can give. I'll say execute. I have to give the path here. I have to give the path. Let me try to give this path. This is the path of the file. Vendor.txt. Save it. Hello. Yeah, again, I got an exception, file open error. Hmm. Okay, I'll do one thing. Let me try to call it from my report program. So what I did in this function model, I've added what additional parameter I underscore x. This additional parameter is always added as what optional parameter. Then in the source code, we have identified the implicit enhancement options. We already know they are available at the beginning and what? At the beginning and end of the what? Function model. At the beginning and end of the function model, we have identified it and we have done the implementation. What is the implementation I gave? I displayed some information message along with the value of the additional parameter. Okay, so let me check whether my source code is getting executed or not. Let us test it from a report program. So I want to read the data from this particular file, vendor.txt. Vendor.txt. So since I have to, already we know the signature of this function model, we have to pass what file name as mandatory parameter and also what internal is also what mandatory. So in the earlier case, I have not passed the internal table. Let me declare the internal table. I'll set types begin of something ty underscore legacy. I'll declare some string value system string variable end of ty underscore legacy. Then I'll set data t underscore legacy type table of ty underscore legacy. I'll declare a work area w underscore legacy type ty underscore legacy. Done. Let us call that particular function model.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, is my voice is audible now? Hello?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Okay,
Now audible.
okay, fine. Yeah, there's connection lost. Yeah, type of program is executable program. So we have done the enhancement of the function model GUI upload. Let us try to pass the value for the additional parameter. So I'll declare one internal table here, str type what string end of what ty underscore legacy. Then I'll say data t underscore legacy type table of so and so w underscore legacy type ty underscore what legacy. I'll call the function model GUI underscore upload. Yeah, here I have to pass the value for the mandatory parameter, nothing but the path of the file. So I'll take this particular, I'll right click on this file vendor. I'll copy the path of the file. Slash, what is this? Vendor.txt done. I'll remove all these optional parameters and you can see here our parameter is here I underscore x. I'll try to pass some value 25. Done. And internal table is mandatory. I'll declare the internal table t underscore legacy. Done. Okay, better we handle the exceptions. Okay, I'll just give some write statement here. End. Done. Save. Check for the syntax. Activate. Right. So what we are trying to test here is in this function model GUI upload, we have added one additional parameter I underscore x. This is always added as what? Optional. Okay. This optional checkbox is selected by SAP itself. And based on this additional parameter, we can implement what? Some additional source code. So in continuation of the last session, we have done the source code enhancements. Okay. So in the source code tab, we have identified the implicit enhancement options. Generally, they are available where at the beginning and end of the function model. So at the end of the function model here, right, I have implemented the, I have done some implementation. I'm just providing some message information message. In that only we are printing the value of the additional parameter I underscore x. Let us call this. So I'll put the breakpoint here in the right statement, execute. Yeah, the system is trying to access the file. I'll say hello. Yeah, good. What happened here? That function model got executed. What is the job of that function model? It has to read the data from the given file into the internal table. So it might have read, and at the end we wrote some additional logicness. I got that particular information message, additional source code. Done. Additional parameter values are 25. What is the value I passed? 25. Done. It will stop at the debugging. Let's see whether it has read the data into the internal table or not. What is the internal table? Declare t underscore what? Legacy. Yes, it has got some 12 records. If I open this, good, you can see it. I got the data. Why it is showing 12 means might be there are some blank lines in the file. That's why it is considering that also as what one record. So it has read all the what file content into the internal table. So here the main focus is what whether our code is getting executed or not. Yes, it is getting executed. Understood? We are calling the function module. We are calling the function model, and whenever this function model is successfully executed, it will read the data into the given internal table. After that, at the end, what I did, I implemented what our own source code. We are just printing some message. You can write whatever logic you want. Based on this parameter, you want to call some other function models, or what are the validations you want to do based on this parameter, you can do it. That's all. This is your function group enhancements. So what is the point you have to understand? Function group enhancement means it is a process of enhancing the standard function models. What kind of enhancement we can do? We can add additional parameters in the signature. Those additional parameters are always added as what? Optional. Why SAP is going to add that as optional means that function module might be called in many places in the SAP system. If it is mandatory, what happens when you execute that dependent objects, it will lead to what? Runtime error. That's why it is always added as what? Optional parameter. So based on these additional parameters, we can enhance the source code of the standard function model, where we can plug that additional source code at the beginning and what end. Directly we cannot plug. We have to open that in enhanceable mode, identify the implicit enhancement options. It will show them at the beginning and end. Wherever you want to plug the additional source code, create the enhancement implementation and provide the required logic. Yeah, is it clear? Any questions?
Sir, can we add export changing in tables also?
Any parameter, import, export, changing tables, but all those parameters are always what? Optional. Any parameter.
Okay.
Okay. If you see this function model, if I open it in enhanceable mode, see in the import section, it is enabled. I need to open it separately. So if I go to SC37, geo underscore upload display, right? So import section, I want to add one more parameter. What I can do, open it in what? Enhanceable mode. Yeah, I'll choose the existing enhancement implementation or go for what? New enhancement implementation. I'll go for this. Yeah, I can see it as open in not only import, anywhere I can add. I can add it in export also. I can add it in what? Changing also. I can add it in what? Tables. I can add what? Some user defined exception. Exception not allowing not allowing. Only what? The signature. The parameters only I can add. Not exceptions, only the parameters. Source code anyhow we have done it. One more point, important point is not all the function models are enhanceable. Not all the standard function models are enhanceable. Sometimes what happens is some function models are not enhanceable. How can you say it is not enhanceable means by looking at that we cannot say. When you try to enhance, I may not be able to show that because in the latest version almost most of the function models are enhanceable, but I read one note in the documentation earlier in the older versions, some function models were not enhanceable. For example, if I go to SC37, you take any function model. Suppose let me take a function model like BDC underscore open underscore group. So in BDC, we know how to create the session object. This is the function model I want to enhance. So what I'll do is if I go to any of these parameters, I'll click on what? Enhance button. Understood? When I click on the enhance button, if it is enhanceable, yes, it will open in enhanceable mode. Sometimes what happens is, for some function models, when you click on this enhanceable mode, on the status bar, you'll get a message saying that function module belongs to kernel, function, the component is part of central basis, cannot be enhanced. So if you get that message, it means that that function model is not enhanceable. I repeat once again, by looking at the function model, we cannot say whether it is enhanceable or not. But when you try to open that function model in enhanceable mode, if that function model is part of central basis kernel internally in the application server, you will have one component called as kernel. Okay, so if the function model is part of central basis, nothing but kernel, that function model cannot be enhanced. So what I'm trying to say is, in the interview point of view, can we enhance all the standard function models? Answer should be no. Some function models are not enhanceable if they belong to what? Central basis. Just provide that point. If the function model is part of central basis means it's one of the kernel. It is one of the component in the application server. So if a component is part of that particular kernel, which we call it a central basis, that component cannot be enhanced. So how do we identify whether function model is enhanceable or not? Means there is no procedure for that. When you try to enhance only, you will get a message on the status bar. Here I am not getting, but in the older versions I have seen, okay, in what this is EHP version. In the plain ECC version, some function models are not enhanceable. You'll get a message on the status bar. But going forward, as we have multiple releases, SAP is allowing to enhance what? Most of the function models. Okay, so this point you have to remember. That's it. This is about the function group enhancements. Any questions?
Uh, After doing enhancement, do we have to require to activate the function group?
No, not required. Just activating the function model is sufficient. Activation of
Yeah.
function group is required when you create any include programs in the table maintenance. At the table level, if you are implementing any events, that event logics will be implemented in the subroutine, and that subroutine gets created in the include program of that particular function group. At that time, it requires activation. But when we enhance a standard function model, no need of activating the function group. Just activating the function model will be sufficient. Yeah, any other
Okay.
questions? Yeah, similarly, if you take this class enhancement, same thing. It is a process of enhancing what? Standard classes. So if you know object oriented, in object oriented, there are many standard classes given by SAP. Okay, so we can enhance a standard class. So if you know class concept, a class contains what? Attributes, methods, events, right? So inside that standard class, if you want to add additional attributes, additional methods, or I can say additional components, at that time we can go for what? Class enhancements. Suppose here, let me go to class enhancement. How do you open the standard class? Through the class builder. All the standard classes given by SAP, they are global classes. How do we access the global classes? Through class builder, SE24. Okay, so I'll go to SE24. I'll take some class CL underscore WDR underscore task, some class CL underscore WDR underscore task. So if you go to properties of this class, this is a private class related to WebDimpro. Any class you can take. Okay. Suppose most of you might be aware of this CL underscore GUI underscore ALV underscore what grids. Okay, in ALV reporting, we use this class. Or let me open CL underscore GUI underscore front end services. Front end services. So if I open this class contains what? Many attributes. Okay, many methods, many events, many types. Okay, so it contains many built-in components. So my requirement is inside this class, I want to add some additional method or additional attribute. So in the methods tab, if I say page down, yeah, here I want to add the additional method. So how do we add it? Again, you have to open this class in what? Enhanceable mode, right? First open the class in display mode in the class builder, and then so what? Click on the enhance button on the application toolbar. Yeah, good. It is asking for what? Enhancement implementation. So if it is asking for enhancement implementation, what is the meaning? It is enhanceable. Sometimes what happens is for some classes, you'll get the same message. The component is part of central basis. So again, if the class belongs to central basis, we cannot enhance. So again, the same point, all the standard classes may not be enhanceable. If any class or function model is part of central basis, those function model or class cannot be enhanced. Right. So here I have to give the enhancement implementation. Let me give the enhancement implementation as something ZCL GUI enhancement implementation, something. Okay, I'll provide some enhancement implementation name, continue, done. Now you can see here it has opened that methods in what? Editable mode. Attributes, attributes also I think, everything. So if it's a page down, you can see I can add the additional attributes, I can add the additional methods, I can add additional events also. Events are not there in this class. If you want to add, you can add the additional events. Okay. So we can add whatever you want. I can add additional methods, I can add what additional attribute. I'll add an attribute like I underscore X type what. I'll sorry, not type, I'm sorry. Well, you have to decide whether it is the instance or static or constant. I'll go for instance attribute. Let me make it as public. Again, in object oriented, we have public, protected, private. Okay, so I'll go for public. I'll say type what I. Anything, integer, character, date, whatever you want. So I'm able to add the additional parameter. Okay, so additional attribute. Attribute is like a parameter only for the function model. So here we are adding what additional attribute. Now I can go to what methods tab. I can add additional methods. Okay, or else you can enhance the standard methods also. Suppose, yeah, I'll take the same thing. We have a function method what geo underscore upload. Just like we have the function model geo upload, we have a method called as what GUI upload. So I want to enhance this. So how do I enhance here? If I double click on this method, it takes the control to the implementation. It is taking the control to the method implementation. Here I can do the implementation. Okay, so before that, let me activate the class because I've added one additional parameter, additional attribute. Now, what is the additional attribute I've added? I underscore X. I've added the additional parameter I underscore X. Instance public what I. Let me activate this. Let me save it. Check for the syntax error. Activate this. Okay, I'll try to activate this particular what class. Yes. It is successfully activated. It is successfully activated. Done. Next, what you can do, I want to what make use of this parameter, sorry, attribute. I want to make use of this attribute in one of the standard method. Okay. Again, I'll open the class in display mode. I'll go to methods. I'll take some methods which I know. I'll take a method like geo underscore what upload. Yeah, you can see We have GUI download, we have GUI upload also, right? So in this particular what method or in another method like GUI underscore download here at the bottom, I want to make use of that particular parameter. So if I double click on this method, it takes a control to the source code of that method, just like function and function. We have method and method. So here I want to plug the additional source code. So method is also a block now. So in the blocks, generally they are available where? At the beginning and end of the blocks. So how do you identify that? Again, same navigations, edit, enhancement operations, show implicit enhancement options. Did I open here? Yeah, I'll open it in enhanceable mode. Yeah, now I'll choose edit, enhancement operations, show implicit enhancement options. You can see it at the beginning of the method and where? At the end of the method, I can add the additional source code. How do we add? Just right click on this enhancement option, enhancement operations, create implementation. Yeah, program is getting terminated. Yeah, class interface change at runtime. Yeah, there is some standard or program got enhanced, someone has not activated properly. I'll go to NC24. Inside this class, I'll take the method GUI underscore upload now. Download is having some issue. I'll double click on this. Yeah, I'll open this in enhanceable mode. I'll choose edit enhancement operations, show implicit enhanced options, done. I'll add it at the end. Right click on this, enhancement operations, create implementation. Yeah, choose a type of enhancement. You want to declare any local variables or you want to write some logic. So I'll say code enhancement implementation, ZCL geo enhancement implementation 2. Some description I'll give. Okay, continue. Right, the class, the enhancement implementation is getting created. You can see here it is added what? Enhancement and what? And enhancement. So I'll just say message. I'll try to print the value of that particular parameter. So whatever logic you want to write, you can write based on the additional parameter. Save it. Check for the syntax error. Within a static method, you can only access static attributes without further specification. So sorry. This geo upload This upload is a static method. So inside the static method, we can add only what? Static, we can access only what? Static attributes. But I underscore x added as what instance. That's why it is not allowing me. So I'll do one thing. I'll just remove this. I'll not access that. Save it. Understand the point. Why I'm getting the error means this are all oops concepts. Inside the static methods, I can access only static attributes or constants. If it is an instance method, I can access any kind of attribute, either instance or static or constant. So save it, check for the syntax, no errors, activate this. Done. It is activated. So just like function model, here also I am able to add what? Additional components. In function model, we call them as parameters. Here components. Component can be attribute or it can be a method or what? Event. So I've added one additional attribute I underscore x. Then we have done the implementation for the standard method what? Geo underscore what? Upload. Not only this, not only these two enhancements, we can add three more kind of enhancements to the method. We have something called as pre-exit, post-exit, and what? Overwrite. We'll see that now. Yeah, any queries before I continue? Again, here also, not all standard classes are enhanceable. If a class is part of kernel, that is central basis, it cannot be enhanced. So this is very important. Can all the standard function models or classes are enhanceable means? No. When you're trying to enhance, if it belongs to kernel, you'll get a message on the warning message on the status bar, which means what? It is not enhanceable. Right. So what is the other types of enhancements we can do in class enhancements is we can add pre-exit, post-exit, and overwrite exit implementations. How do we add means? Yeah, it's the same method g underscore upload. I'll open this in enhanceable mode. Observe this carefully. I'll not open in enhanceable mode. Let's see what happens. I'll choose. Yeah, you can see here since it is not in enhanceable mode. Okay, since it is not in enhanceable mode, if I put the cursor in this method and if I choose go to, sorry, not go to, edit enhancement operations, you can see here insert pre method, post method, all these are disabled. All these are disabled. So what I'll do here, I'll open this in what? Enhanceable mode. This class, I'll try to open it in enhanceable mode. Yes, open. Oh, activation issue. I'll open the class once again. I'll open it in enhanceable mode. Yeah, I'll choose the existing enhancement implementation. You can see now, observe here. It has what? Columns you can see at the right hand side. Pre-exit, post-exit, override. I repeat this once again. I'll go back. If I open it in display mode, if I go to methods, we have many methods. You can see I don't have that columns pre-exit, post-exit, override. The moment I open it in enhanceable mode, yeah, it is asking whether to create new enhancement implementation or existing one. I'll go for existing. Good. You can see here we have pre-exit, post-exit, and not override. So for our method, what is that method? Geo underscore upload, na? Geo underscore upload. Let me search for that. Yeah, for geo upload also you can see we have pre-exit, post-exit, override. So what is this pre-exit, post-exit means? If I add any pre-exit implementation, wherever I call this method, before executing the actual logic of this method, the logic which you have associated in the pre-exit gets what? Executed. Similarly, if you add the post-exit, what happens? After executing the actual logic, it will execute what? Post-exit implementation. Overwrite exit means wherever you call this standard method, instead of calling the actual logic, it will call the logic available inside what? Overwrite exit. Understood? That is the meaning of pre-exit, post-exit, and what? Overwrite exit. If you have pre-exit or post-exit methods, I cannot have overwrite exit or vice versa. Suppose for the GUI upload, I want to add the pre-exit implementation. How do I add? Put the cursor in that method, whichever method you want to add. I'm putting in GUI upload. Somewhere here, edit menu, enhancement operations. What is this? Insert pre method. I'll say yes. You can see here a button got added. Pre-exit. What are the logic you want to write? You can write. I can just click on this button, write the logic. Generally, people are not using this in the real time because most of the participants are not much aware of these concepts. That's why generally they'll go for customer exits or baddies. But if you have the knowledge and if your team agrees for that, we can go for this. You can see here method IPR. IPR means what? Pre-exit. insert pre-exit. In between this method, end method, you can write the required logic. You can see here. I'll just say message what pre-exit. You can write whatever your logic you want to write. Type I, save it, check for the syntax error. Okay, it is asking choose a main program for this. I can choose any of them, doesn't matter. No syntax errors, try to activate this. Oh my God, program got terminated. Sometimes these things will happen. Okay, when you are activating the standard program, these things will happen. So let me go back again. SC24, I'll open it in display mode. What is that method? Geo upload, no? Yeah, geo upload, pre-exit. If I click on this, yeah, this is one thing. It's active only done. I've added what? Pre-exit. I want to add the post-exit. How do I add? Edit, enhancement operations. It is not enabled. So I'll open it in what? Enhanceable mode. I'll choose the same thing. Yeah, I want to add the post exit. So choose edit, enhancement operations, insert what? Post method. Yeah, it is inserted. Click on this button and write the logic. Okay, so somewhere here, this is IPR, insert pre-med. If you scroll down, IPO, nothing but what? Insert post exit. You write the required logic. So here I'll say message type I. Check for the syntax error. Activate this. It is activated, go back. So what I did here for the method geo upload, I've added what? Pre-exit and what? Post-exit. I'll try to add override. It should not allow me. It should not allow me to add what? Overwrite exit. Let me try to add edit for this method geo upload. I'll put the cursor here, edit, enhancement operations, insert what? Overwrite method. Good. I got a message in the status bar. What is that? OWR methods cannot exist simultaneously with what? Pre or what? Post exit. Understood? So if you want to add overwrite exit, you have to delete what? Pre exit and what? Post exit. Both cannot exist simultaneously. So when this pre exit gets executed before the actual logic, post exit get executed after the actual logic. Overwrite exit will bypass the standard logic and instead executes our own logic. That is the meaning of override. If you want to add override, you have to delete this. How do I delete this? Pre-exit, post-exit. Choose the menu, edit, enhancement operation, delete what? Pre-method. Deleted. Pre-exit is deleted. I'll choose this. Edit, enhancement operation, so delete post method. Deleted. Now I can add what? Override exit. Before that, I believe I need to activate once. Yes, it is activated. Go back, come back once again. So for the method geo upload, right? For the method geo upload, I want to add what? Override. So again, I'll open it in enhanceable mode. I'll choose the same thing. Done. Directly, I'll choose, put the cursor in the method geo upload, enhanced operation, insert what? Override method. Program got terminated. These things will happen. Okay, so there is no other way. Just go back, and come back once again and try to do that. It's a problem with the tool itself. The enhancement framework tool itself is not properly designed. There are many bugs. Version to version, SAP is rectifying that. In the earlier versions, we used to get many errors. Now they are rectified little bit. Geo upload, I'll choose enhanceable mode. Edit, enhancement operation, insert override method. Yeah, access to so and so, yes, done. It has added what? Override. Click on this and write the log. So these are the different types of enhancements that we can do with what? Standard classes. What kind of enhancement we can do? We can add what? Additional components. Additional components can be in the form of attributes. It can be in the form of methods, in the form of events, in the form of types declarations. Then what else? We can add additional parameters in the methods also. Already there are many standard methods in that class. No? As part of any of the standard method, I can add the additional parameter, just like how we added to the function model. And that additional parameter is always added as what? Optional. And apart from that, we can enhance the standard source code of the method. Apart from that, we can associate pre-exit, post-exit, and overwrite exit methods with the standard methods. Pre-exit implementation will be executed before the actual method implementation gets executed. Post-exit method implementation gets executed after the actual standard method implementation gets executed. Overwrite exit implementation will bypass the standard method implementation and instead executes the business logic associated with overwrite exit implementation. And if the class is part of central basis, it cannot be enhanced. By looking at the class, we cannot say whether it is enhanceable or not. At the time of enhancement, if it is not enhanceable, SAP will flash a message saying that the component is part of central basis, nothing but kernel, so it cannot be enhanced. That's all. This is about function group enhancements and class enhancements. Any queries? So if you see this source code enhancements, we have enhancement section. Last session, we have seen the implementation for enhancement point. Na? Similarly, let us quickly try to understand the difference between enhancement point and enhancement what section. I'll demonstrate that in the custom program. Then we can correlate with the standard program. So just observe here. Okay, see here. Type of program is executable. Already we have seen the enhancement part, but once again, let us implement that in the custom program. Yeah, just observe here. I'll say write begin of program, and here I'll say end of program. Begin of program and end of program. When I execute this, nothing to discuss. I'll get that particular two write statements. So inside this program, I'll try to create explicit enhancement points. Last class, we have seen the syntax. What is the syntax? Enhancement point name. You can give any name. I'll give it as something ZEP1, something. Okay. Enhancement points are stored inside enhancement spot. Na? What is the syntax? Spots followed by enhancement spot name. I'll give the enhancement spot name as something ZESP1. Done. Okay, so observe this carefully. I created what? An explicit enhancement point. What is the enhancement point name? ZEP1. Enhancement points are stored inside what? Enhancement spot. Let me try to save it. When I try to save it, good. You can see here. This is the enhancement point ZEP1. which is getting stored inside the enhancement spot. Continue. Done. Check for the syntax error, activate this. It is activated. When I execute the program, nothing, no change. I got only my statements. Now I want to do the implementation for this particular enhancement point. So already we know in the last class, in order to implement source code enhancements, we have to open it in enhanceable mode. So let me open it in enhanceable mode. Yeah, in enhanceable mode. I'll right click on this. I clicked on the spiral icon, right click on this enhancement spot, enhancement operations. What is this? Create implementation. Done. I'll give the enhancement implementation name as something ZESP1 underscore enhancement implementation 1. Provide some description. Continue. Yeah, done. Here you write the logic, whatever you want. So I'll just give a message. For enhancement point ZEP1. Done. Save it. Check for the syntax error, errors, execute. When I say F8, good. What happened? That enhancement point got triggered. It has got one active implementation that got executed. Last class we have seen we can provide any number of implementation. I want to provide one more implementation. Right click on this enhancement operations. What is this? Create implementation. It is not allowing me here. There is already an implementation. So probably just I'll activate once, go back, come back again. Right. So now I'll try to right click on this. I'll open it in enhanceable mode. Right click on this enhancement spot, enhancement operations, create implementation. Position the cursor on the enhancement option to create it. Okay, nothing. Right click on this enhancement operations, create implementation. Yeah. Okay, so this is the existing enhancement implementation. I don't want to disturb. I'll click on what? Create one more implementation. I'll give the name as something ZESP1 underscore enhancement implementation to provide some description. Continue. I'll save it in the local object. Choose your enhancement implementation. Then provide the logic. So I'll just say write what enhancement implementation 2 for what enhancement point ZEP1. Save it. Check for the syntax. Activate. That's it. So when I execute, what happened? Both the implementations got already. I demonstrated this point in the last class when we have done the implementation for BD10T code. What we understood, enhancement point can have any number of what active implementation. In that BD10, this statement is given by whom? SAP itself. In that event at selection screen event, we identified this particular statement. We have only done the implementation. Here, since this is a custom program, I have created the enhancement point and I have done the implementation. Whereas in the standard objects, the enhancement points are given by SAP. Just we need to identify the appropriate enhancement point and do the implementation. What we understood, we can have any number of what active implementations for enhancement points. Hope this is clear to everyone. This enhancement point is similar to multiple use body. Multiple use body means what? I can have any number of active implementations. Any queries? Okay. Now let me quickly demonstrate enhancement section. Interview point of view, this is important difference between enhancement point and enhancement section.
Sir,
Yes,
sir, but for custom programs, we can directly modify now, sir. We will be having access.
No. The advantage of doing this is at any point after we can switch off now.
Okay.
Understood. Suppose if I go back to that
Yes, sir.
particular program, Yes, I can directly open, I can do the changes. Instead of you doing the changes, I don't want this one. What you'll do, you'll open it in enhanceable
Activate.
mode. I can right click on this. I can say enhancement operation. What is this? Undo implementation. So the entire implementation gets what? Cancelled. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So already we have seen that in the standard code, but better understanding, again, I have done it in the custom program. Yes, custom program, I may not create an enhancement point. Directly I can write it. But the advantage of putting the implementing the enhancement point is whenever you want, we can undo it, we can change it. Directly I can go to that object. Means here I'll write the logic for one validation. Here I'll write the logic for other validation. So what is the advantage of putting each validation in a separate enhancement implementation? Whenever I want, I can activate and deactivate the implementations, right? That is the advantage of going for enhancement. If I directly write the logic also, we can do, but I need to check which logic you have to comment, which logic you have to uncomment, which logic you have to modify. If they are stored in a separate object, the maintenance becomes what? Easy. Clear, Sai?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Let me go to enhancement section. Yeah, here a very simple example. Suppose I'll take some input as what weblen parameters p underscore type vbak-weblen. Now what I'll do is I will go for enhancement section. What is the syntax? Enhancement section name I'll give ZS1. I'll give the enhancement spot name. Let me give it as Z enhancement spot 1. Done. Okay, inside this, I'll write some select queries. Select single. What is that? Weblen. I'll go for new OpenSQL. I'll try to get the header data. Here a name from what? VBAK into, I'll go for inline declaration at the rate data of work area. Select single means we require work area only, na? Where weblen equal to inline declaration. What is this? P underscore what? Weblen. P underscore weblen. Okay, if size bar C equal to 0, right? I'll say format color something 7 something. I'll say write sales document header data. I'll just try to print it, right? Sales document number, what is that? W underscore VBAK hyphen Weblen. Then here I'll say creation date W underscore VBAK hyphen ERDAT. Then I'll say this is what creation time W underscore VBAK hyphen ERZET. Then I'll say created by W underscore VBAK hyphen ERNAM. Done. Then I'll say else. I'll just switch off the color here. Format color off. Else I'll say no data. No data. And if you have to close the enhancement section. What is the syntax? End enhancement section or something is there. End enhancement section. Done. So what is that I've done is I wrote some logic. I enclose that logic between what? Enhancement section and end enhancement section. What is the syntax? Enhancement section name spots on. So let me save it. Okay, so you can see what is the radio button selected here. Enhancement section ZS1 continue done. Check for the syntax error, activate this. Done, it is activated. Let me execute. I'll give the weblen as 4990. Execute. Yeah, nothing to discuss. I got the header data. Header data. Right now, my agenda is in the earlier example, we have done the implementation for enhancement point. How to do the implementation? We have to open that in enhanceable mode, and we understood that enhancement point we can associate any number of what active implementation. Similarly, for this enhancement section, I'll open it in what enhanceable mode. I'll try to do the implementation. Right click on this, right? Enhancement operations. What is this? Create implementation. Not allowing. Let me activate this once. Go back. Right click on the enhancement section, enhancement operations, create implementation. Position the cursor in the enhancement option to create it. I'll open it in display mode. Right click on this, enhancement operations. What is this? Create implementation. Yeah, understood. So enhancement implementation name, I'll give it as something, the enhancement spot 1 underscore enhancement implementation 1. I'll provide some description, continue. So enhancement implementation gets what? Created. Yeah, you can see below bottom, it has created the enhancement. Same logic is copied. I don't want this logic. I want to get the item data. So I'll say select VBLN, comma POSNR, comma material number from VBAP into table. What is that? Into table data of W underscore what? T underscore VBAP, where Veblen equal to so and so, if format equal to 0, format call the sales document, what? Item data. I need to loop the internal table, loop at T underscore VBAP into data of work area W underscore VBAP. Each record will come to that. I'll try to print W underscore VBAP hyphen Veblen. What else? W underscore VBAP hyphen what? Item number of POSNR, done. Then what else? W underscore VBAP hyphen material number, W underscore VBAP hyphen material number, done. That's it. Okay, I'll switch off the color and lobe. No item data. Done, that's all. Okay, so save it, check for the syntax error, activate this. So what you have done now? We have done the implementation for enhancement section. We have done the implementation for enhancement section. Earlier, when there was no implementation, what is the data I got? Header data. Na? Now I have done the implementation for enhancement section. So see what happens. Observe this carefully. I have activated. Let me execute this. I'll say F8. Yeah, I'll give 4990. Earlier I got the header data. Na? Now when I execute, what I got here? Item data. So what is the understanding? If you're doing any implementation for enhancement section, what happens? Whatever the logic is there between enhancement section and the end enhancement section will be bypassed, and instead it will execute the implementation. You can compare this similar to overwrite exit method. For standard methods, we can associate the overwrite exit. So it's similar to that. So what is the point you have to understand? If the enhancement section contains any implementation, what happens? It will execute the implementation and bypasses the logic embedded between what? Enhancement section and what? End enhancement section. Another point is enhancement section can have only one implementation. It cannot have what? It cannot have multiple active implementations. What I'll do here? I'll try to provide one more implementation. I'll right click on this. I'll say enhancement operations, create implementation. Yeah, I'll go for new one. What is that? Z enhancement spot 1 underscore ENH IMPL2. Right, so one more enhancement implementation gets created. IMPL2, I'll choose this. Yeah, somewhere here. Where is that? IMPL2. This only, na? ENH IMPL2. Here I'll write the logic. Let me remove this logic. Right, the logic will be copied, so I'm removing that. So what I'll do here, I'll say write second implementation for what? Enhancement section, type I. What is the first implementation? It is getting the item data. First implement is getting the item data. Second implement is some write message. Okay, save it. See what happens. Check for the syntax. Style expected, not type. Oh, this is the right statement. No, sorry. So save it. Check for the syntax error. Done. Good. There is a unresolved conflict. It is getting the warning. There is an unresolved conflict between the enhancement ENH IMPL1 and enhancement ENH IMPL2. Can we understand this conflict? If I double click, nothing is happening. Okay, so I'll activate. I'll try to activate forcefully. Let me execute. I'll try to execute. I'll give 4990. Earlier, what happened? I got the item data na? When I execute. Yeah, what happened here? It is executing only the first implementation. Am I clear? It is executing only the first implementation. Suppose now I'll open it. I'll right click on the first implementation. Yeah, this is my first implementation. I'll right click. I'll say enhancement operations. What is this? Undo the implementation. Not allowing a. So probably I need to go back and come back. So these adjustments you have to do. Okay. I'll open it in enhanceable mode. What I'll do now? First implementation I want to undo. Right click on this. Enhancement operations. Undo the implementation. Good. It has been removed. Is it clear? I'm having only one implementation now. This is header data. This is IMPL2. Let me activate this. Then it is activated. Am I clear? So I have deleted the first implementation. Now when I execute, yeah, I'll pass 4990, execute. What happens? It is executing the next implement because the first one is deleted. So what is the meaning? Enhancement section can contain any number of implementations, but it always executes the first implementation. Okay, always execute the first implementation. So what is the behavior of enhancement section? Whatever the code available within enhancement section and end enhancement section, that code will be bypassed and executes the implementation. I'll remove the second one also. Right click on this and undo implementation. It is not allowing me. I'll go back. I need to come back once again. So don't remember these navigations. Try to spend time on the system. You'll get it. Right click on this enhancement operations, undo implement as remote. So there are no active implementations for my enhancement section. Now see what happens. This code gets executed. 4990, right? Execute. What happened? I got the header data. So you have to correlate this with what standard this thing also. Suppose if I take the same example BD10, this is a standard program. If I double click on this, right, in this program, already we have done the implementation for enhancement point. So in this program, you may have some enhancement section also. Okay, observe this. We do any enhancement section here in this program. All our enhancement points only. Good. We can see here. There is an enhancement section, end enhancement section. This is enhancement section given by SAP itself. Enhancement section, section name, spot, enhancement, spot. Okay, there is some logic available. I want to bypass this logic and instead it has to execute our implementation. So what you'll do, same process. You have to open this in enhanceable mode, right click on the enhancement spot and do the implementation so that whenever the enhancement section gets triggered, it will bypass this logic. It will not execute this logic. Instead, it executes what? Our first implementation. I can have any number of implementations, but it always executes what? First implementation. So this is the difference between enhancement point and enhancement section. Enhancement point can have any number of active implementations. All the implementation gets executed one after the other. Whereas enhancement section can be associated with a number of implementations, but always executes what? First implementation, and it bypasses the code which is available between what? Enhancement section and what? End enhancement section. Okay, so this is about the entire framework. Enhancement point, enhancement section, function group enhancement, class enhancement. So how do we understand enhancement spot now? Enhancement spot is a container of what? Body definitions, source code enhancements, function group enhancements, and class enhancements. Enhancement implementation is a container of what? Body implementations, function group enhancement implementations, class enhancement implementations. Okay. And we understood the difference between enhancement point and enhancement sections. I have not shared the material for the last few classes. I'll share it today along with the recordings also. So we'll see one more example in enhancement, not now, maybe after 1 week when we discuss IDOC extension. Already we have seen BAPI extension. When we come to IDOC extension, we'll see one more scenario on the enhancement. So from the last 1 week or 10 days related to this enhancement, we have seen how to implement additional validations, menu enhancements, screen enhancements, both by using what? Customer exits and what? Baddies. And we have seen filter dependent baddie, filter independent baddies. We have seen single filter type, multiple filter types. We understood the difference between customer exits and baddies. We understood the difference between classic baddies and kernel baddies. We understood the concept of fallback class. We understood the concept of enhancement framework. So this knowledge is more than sufficient to claim that you are strong in enhancements. Yeah, any queries, please ask.
Sridhar, actually, many of the interviews they'll ask why kernel body will be the faster.
Why kernel baddie is faster? Because whenever a baddie is triggered, these are all a theoretical concept. We cannot see it practically. The point here is why kernel baddies are faster means in case of kernel baddies, I don't know whether you have practiced or not, all of you. How do we create the baddie class object? We have say get baddie ob. Okay, and how do you call the baddie methods? You'll say call this in case of kernel baddies. So here, if the baddie is filter dependent, here only we have to use the filters. If I don't do it, at the time of compilation itself, you'll get the error. So the concept of kernel baddie is at the time of compilation itself, SAP will identify what are the active implementations related to that particular baddie. Okay, so that whenever the baddie interface method is called, the implementation will be faster. Okay, whereas in case of classic baddie, what happens is only when you call the baddie method in the runtime, it will execute some select query to identify the list of what active implementations. That's why classic baddies are faster than are slower than what kernel baddies. So how you have to tell this point is in case of classic baddies, the information related to the active implementations will be known to SAP only during the runtime. That is when the baddie is triggered. When the baddie is triggered, internally it executes a select query to identify the list of what active implementations. Means in the runtime, there will be a database access to identify the list of active implementations in case of classic baddie. But whereas in case of kernel baddies, at the time of compilation itself, means when it is executing get baddie statement, at that time only it will identify the list of what active implementation. So when the baddie is triggered, there will not be any select query gets executed in the runtime. So if there is no select query execution in the runtime, obviously the performance will be increased, no? Because there is no database access in the runtime. But in case of classic baddies, there will be a database access in the runtime. Okay, already I covered this point here. I don't know where is that available. Somewhere here, somewhere here. See here. Difference between classic baddies and kernel baddies. Observe this. What is saying here? See, fourth point. Database access during what? Runtime, whenever the classic baddie is triggered. So the information related to the active implementations is known only in the runtime, that is after what? Database access. Okay. Whereas if you see the fourth point, no database access during runtime. The information related to the active implementations is known during compilation time itself. That is, performance is faster than what? Classic bad. Okay, so you need to refer to the slides to get all these points. Yeah, Giri, hope this is clear, this point.
Yes, Sridhar. Thank you.
So these are general questions, difference between classic baddies and kernel baddies, difference between customer exits and baddies. So we have seen all these points practically. Fourth point, we cannot see practically. Internally, it will execute the select query in case of classic baddies, but in case of kernel baddies, no select query will be executed in the runtime, means there is no database access. So if there is no database access, obviously the performance will be what? Increased. Because of this reason, we'll say kernel baddies are faster than what? Classic baddies. Yeah, any other questions? So next class, that is on Monday. I thought of taking tomorrow, but I want to take rest. I'm tired. Okay. So we'll have the session on Monday only. Monday, what we'll do is we'll start with iDocs. But after 4 or 5 sessions of iDocs, we need to discuss iDoc extension. At that time, again, we require the knowledge of enhancements. So those who are not practiced, please practice enhancements and even that BAPI extension examples that we have seen. 2 examples we have seen BAPI extension. Similar to that, we have iDoc extension. So for practicing iDocs, we require 2 clients within the same server. We require 2 clients because we cannot set up 2 servers. So those are taken the rental system. You ask that vendor to provide you the credentials of another client. Suppose if they give the credentials of 800, you say that you require information of other client also. So you ask for the client ID, user ID and password so that you can practice it practically. iDocs. We require multiple clients or multiple servers. In our live sessions, I'm having the setup for multiple servers also. So I'll show that across multiple servers and some examples I'll show between multiple clients of same server. So in your laptops, you can work only with what? Multiple clients. But here I'm having multiple servers. Okay, so I'll demonstrate between multiple servers as well as multiple clients also. Okay, process is 90% same between multiple servers and multiple clients. So if you practice on multiple clients, that is more than sufficient to claim that you have strong knowledge of iDocs. What are the additional configurations required if you're working on multiple servers? Anyway, I'll show it in the live session. You can refer to the recording. Okay. So next session will be again on Monday. We'll start with the iDocs. Okay, I'll share the recordings materials, all these things by end of today evening. Okay, all the materials and recordings which I have not shared. Sharadan, so I'll wind off. We'll meet again on Monday.